So I asked you, the viewer, if you would like to see a video on a follow-up to questions and comments that have been asked so far in the year 2024. And these are questions and comments that were randomly picked in no particular order for me to answer and give more context to for you, the viewer. I hope you enjoy this. So the first one comes to us from Rhonda H. Rhonda H asks, YT, being YouTube, what is the one issue that you've always wished was fixed or worked better? It's very clear. I'll be very, very clear about this as well. And it's a very, impressing topic that a lot of people really don't pay attention to. YouTube has rules and regulations in place to protect everyone. Not only, large YouTube channels where they have an actual representative they can pick up the phone and call, but smaller YouTubers don't get that feature, but they have rules in place for everyone along the board, and they do not enforce their own rules to help protect newer YouTubers. Until you get over 100,000 subscribers, you do not have the option of a personal representative. So from 0 to 100,000, if a rule is broken against you, the creator, they may not enforce it, or it could take months for them, once you've reached out to them and said, hey, I'm being harassed, I'm being doxxed, before someone will act. You have 100,000 subscribers, you find someone now is doing this to you, you can pick up the phone and call them. The same rule should be applied regardless of how many subscribers you have, across the board, in a fast and courteous manner, and it should go for everyone, not just the bigger YouTube channels. So that is the one thing I wish would work better on YouTube. But thank you for the question. All right, next one comes to us from Jane123 Austin. I heard you mentioned that you try and only use sources that are not behind paywalls, and I appreciate this. However, what about those who are outside of the U.S.? Where can and how can we get access? That is something that is done by your country and where you may actually reside. In that situation, what I would suggest is you get a VPN. A VPN, you can then say you are in America or another country that has more freedom of the actual press. And you can then, once you say, your internet says, okay, I'm in America, as opposed to the Middle East or wherever you may live, then you will be able to access everything and all of those links that I provide. So do that. And that would be the number one thing, because again, it's your country who is blocking it and not the United States. We have a free and open press here, for the most part, in quotes there. Better than a lot of other places in the world. But thank you for your question. Next one comes to us from TomTom. By the way, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it for the gifts that you sent recently, and I haven't had a chance to actually, drop you an email and thank you. But TomTom says, anything new with Jared Lasik? In case you're not familiar with who Jared Lasik is, he is one of the founders of Adventures with Purpose, or as I like to call it, Adventures with Pervert. And yeah, is there anything new about it? No, he and his attorneys are dragging the case out as long as possible. A lot of people are speculating that they're trying to get new representatives elected to political office, and then once they get those new people in office, then they'll go forward with the case. But right now, no, there is nothing new. They just keep on continuing and filing motions, but that's about it. But thank you, TomTom. And again, thank you, bud, for being here. TomTom is one of my longest supporters on this channel. He has been here pretty much since day one. You may not recognize the name TomTom, but he is in the comment section every once in a while, but he changes his screen name like we change our socks. And I'm meaning he changes his screen name a lot, but I know TomTom. But thank you for the question, bud. All right, next one comes to us from Stephanie Muir. I think that's how you pronounce it. M-U-E-R-E, Muir. Asked, is CDX channel dead? I love the comedy and lighthearted approach to the content that you have there. No, CDXI has never been meant to be a channel where I post every single day. And it's the channel name, in case you guys want to go over and subscribe to it. It's CDXI Now. And what is CDXI? That's the Roman numerals for 411. And it has always been meant to be my backup channel in case YouTube, shuts this channel down for some reason. I've always had that channel, and I've been posting, there a video here, a video there for a while. But there was a period where I had a lot of videos that I posted all at once. I would say a good 30, 35 videos all at one time within like a 30-day period. It was like almost every day. I already have these videos done, and I just needed some place to put them. So, but thank you, Stephanie, for the question. Next one is from Janice. Maybe that's Jane Say or Janice Say. Does the FBI website use cookies to track people who have gone there to look up research? You should be careful. Yes, just like any internet provider and any website, they have cookies, and they can definitely see who has been there to look things up. I have nothing to fear from the FBI because I don't do anything against the law. If the FBI wants to come knock on my door, I'd invite them in and have a cup of coffee with them. Just like any other law enforcement agency. I don't have any issues with them at all. But thank you. Again, I'm sorry if I'm wrong about how to pronounce that. I think it's Janice. All right, next question though is from @SilverTrout. 2 items. 1, did you see that Michael is in a homeless shelter? Yes, I did see that Michael is in a homeless shelter, and I hope that he is able to find, permanent housing. I did see his vertical post the other day. Second, where can I email you? I'll put it here at the bottom of the screen. It's 411 Now Business. 411 Now Business at gmail.com. So, again, SilverTrout, thank you for the question. Oh, there's a lot of them, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away, or just walk away and turn up the volume so you can hear it. Next one is from Janice Smith. Asked, would you attend CrimeCon if you were an invited speaker? I have been offered that exact thing to go to Latino Fest. I'm not Latino, and I thought I'd be out of place because I think they would be more served better if they had Latino speakers, but I was invited to be a guest speaker there. And I have been invited to go to VidCon and a couple other cons, not necessarily CrimeCon, but to be a speaker or to take part in group activities that were break-off groups. Would I go? Look, I hate to break the bad news to a lot of people out there, but I'm not much of a rah-rah, hoo-hoo, shaking pom-poms kind of person. I would have more fun at, a Comic-Con than necessarily a CrimeCon. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people that I would love to see at CrimeCon. And I have been to CrimeCon one time, but overall, it was a giant waste of money for me. I was nobody of importance to anyone there. No, I was just another attendee of the thousands and thousands of people who were there for that and the break-off groups and the different vendors and everything else. I was just one other person in there. I'm never going to be the person you want to put up on stage, with the those from law and crime, or the true crime writers, novelists and stuff like that. I'm never going to be that person. I don't really seek out the limelight. I know it sounds weird being on social media, and especially YouTube. I don't seek out the limelight as much as other people do. I prefer to be me and do my thing and basically stay in my own lane. Would I go again in the future? I mean, in the future, I cannot predict where I'll be. Maybe in the future, I will start going to more of these conventions. If the price came down, But for me, for like, let's just use for example, New Orleans last year when they had the other year when they had it in New Orleans, the CrimeCon, that would have cost me close to $5,000 to go to CrimeCon. I have a child at home under the age 10. Would I like to take $5,000 away from him, travel across the United States to go to one of these things, versus spend or put $5,000 in a college fund for him? That's hard. It's a hard decision as a parent and as a creator, because I have to think about the entire thing. Taking that money, I don't make $5,000 in an entire year doing YouTube. I mean, I make money doing other things. Obviously, I got to keep the lights on. But if I was to take that $5,000, I'd have to think about it in my head. Do I really want to take that $5,000 and do this for a week, or even a weekend, versus $5,000 where I could use it, get a lot more benefit out of it? But thank you for the question, though. Next one comes to us from Biblical Scholar. Asked, entire fam loves your content. Well, thank you very much. Do you think Josh Duggar's attorneys will get a successful appeal? No. And you probably didn't see the video because it was made for channel members only. But Josh Duggar's family, Josh Duggar and his attorneys they wanted to appeal to the United States Supreme Court, and the United States Supreme Court is refusing to hear his actual appeals. He can appeal at the federal level to a lower federal court, level, but no, I don't see them being able to be successful at any appeals at all. But thank you for the question. Next one comes to us from my good friend who I've been friends with him since, third grade, fourth grade, somewhere in there. He goes by the name of Farm Truck or Classic Farm Truck on YouTube. He used to have a YouTube channel fixing up models, not like actual cars, but like models, like 1/25th scale trucks or whatever the size of one 1/16th, I don't know, but plastic models. Anyways, but he doesn't do it anymore. I don't even know if he still has the content on YouTube, but he used to be on Vine and Facebook, and a couple other places talking about models and stuff. But anyways, I digress. Asked, long time no see, bud. And it has been a couple of years since we've seen each other. We see each other in chat rooms a lot more than in chat groups and comment sections under these videos than anywhere else. Hope all is well. Still following you and still following the Jared Lasik. And seeing his fans were going full tilt on you in the comments section of one of his videos. Is there any way that I could help with this, report it, or whatever? Stay cool as always, Will. No, there's nothing you can really do. We want a free society and people to have the freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want as long as they don't cross the line, going from here to there, flipping it, and start doxing me. Not that they're ever going to find me ever again anyways to dox me, because I moved into this gated community to get away from these people from being able to do what they did in the past. But you stay safe out there, bud, and I hope to see you in August. And it is now the 12th of July as I'm recording this. Next one is from Richard Ray. How do you get a hold of how do you get a hold of, and how do we get a hold of you if we had a trivia question that we think might have been wrong? Again, right here at the bottom of the screen, 411 now, all together, no spaces in any of this, business@gmail.com. Fire off your email if you think that I was wrong about any trivia question. And for those who are not aware, every Sunday night at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States, I play live trivia right here on YouTube, and I hope you can join us. If you think there's a question that is wrong, I will check it against the 3 different sources that I use for the material, and if they all determined that I was wrong, or maybe I worded it wrong or something, I will definitely give you a shout out in the comments, or the next video. But I'm not trying to stand up on a soapbox and say I am perfect and I can't make mistakes. I make mistakes, and I know that, and I am thankful that people are out there that want to check on these things. So, but thank you, Richard Ray, for your question. The next one comes from Denise, me, and myself. Learned an awful lot about John Wayne Gacy from your content. Have you ever thought about writing a book about John Wayne Gacy? No. I have never thought about writing a book about John Wayne Gacy. I have been approached with this subject matter about writing a book about a certain serial killer, mainly Ed Kemper, because I've studied and always been fascinated with Ed Kemper. Gacy is just easy pickings, I guess is what you call it, but there is definitely a lot of room out there if somebody wants to pick up the time and place and everything else and write a book about Gacy. There's probably an audience out there, a pretty sizable audience as well. But no, myself, I've never thought about writing a book about Gacy. But thank you for the question. Next 2 questions are from the same email address or message. All right, first one comes from the screen name is Scott, Bucky, and Josie. I'm guessing a couple, because the second one actually says who they are. Wait, hold up. I've seen you on the Lifetime Network. Then we saw you on the BBC for a documentary about a little girl. Who are you? Well, I'm Will Finley. And yes, those are 2 documentaries that I've actually been part of. I've been part of actually 7 total documentaries that have been put up in different programs, put up by Vice, Vox, ABC News, a special report, one of those special news, night things. I did the BBC about Mila Billingsley. That was the little girl that he's referring to here. Because I'm assuming that this is Scott in this comment, because the next one says it's Josie. But see, Lifetime Network, Discovery Channel, and I've been in quite a few. Because before I ever jumped on this side of the camera, I was behind the camera, doing work like this, like I'm doing now today. And I really still think I'm a much better researcher than I'm ever going to be as a personality in front of the camera. So, but thank you. Yeah, it's true. I've been in a lot, and I've helped out in a lot more where I haven't gotten necessarily the credit for it. And by the way, the one you saw me in on the Lifetime Network, I never gave them the approval to use me or my video clip in that. They stole that content and refused to pay for it because they said I was a person in the media and that they had the right to use that clip. They used me in print material, my face, my likeness, no compensation. They used my video, they used my voice, my audio recordings. They took that stuff from actual content, and never paid me for it. It would cost me more to sue them to get the few bucks, but I guess I could have done it, or to make everyone's hey, look, you can't do this, to make a whatever you want to call it. I have a couple choice words that I wanted to put in there. That's why I was stumbling. All right, next one is from Scott, Buck, and Josie. It says, Josie here. Will you ever cover Elaine Wuornos on Trivia Night? Josie, I have covered Elaine Wuornos, the serial killer who was executed. I have covered her a couple of times in trivia. So it's probably been a couple of years, so you have to go back to my channel, go to the playlist for the Trivia Night, and search back. You will find at least 2 different trivia nights where I covered her. But thank you for the question, Josie. Thank you again also for letting me know who was actually asking the question at the time. Next one is from Merle, and then there's 3 L's, Jackson. purchased the serial killer calendar via your recommendation. Who wrote it? Did you? No. No, and this is what they're talking about, is this book. Serial killer calendar. Nowhere on the front down here does it have a name. Open it up, artwork. Going through, there is no title page, there's no forward, nothing. All the way to the back. All it has is just a blank page with the name of, it was printed in the United States and the name of the company. It was printed. Looking up the ISBN number. All you get there is Library of Congress information and information that goes back to the actual publisher. Nowhere. And I have tried my damnedest before I ever even talked about the book. It was recommended to me by a viewer, subscriber, hopefully a good friend of the channel, and I don't get anything from recommending it. Or I just find the book very curious and very interesting for everyone else out there, and I hope they enjoy it. But I don't get anything from it, and I don't know who wrote it. I wish I knew. That is the truth. All right, but thank you for the question. Next one comes from us, Light Armored and Armorer. Light Armor and Armorer. Do you speak to Scott Sharp from True Crime Loser? I have never spoken to Scott Sharp from True Crime Loser. I find the man's content, very, informative. I find his comedy even funnier. Yes, Scott is a stand-up comic. I've, dived into it a little bit. I haven't done it in 2024 doing stand-up comedy, but I have done it in the past. It's something I can check off my bucket list of things that that challenge myself to do. And you should do things like that as well. Step out of your comfort zone and do something like that. But I've never spoken with Scott. I've been a subscriber to his content for, well, quite a few years, but sorry to say I've never spoken with him. But thank you for the question, though. Next one, it comes to us from Dancing with Stars. I need to find a source, the source you have, or another source, for the autopsy results for Bella, Cece, and baby Nico and Shanann. Do you care to provide yours? I don't have one. I've never had one. As far as I know, there was never a autopsy done on any of the three children or Shanann. They did a preliminary examination, but all of that has been permanently sealed and will never be unsealed. Doesn't matter how much you try. And trust me when I tell you, a lot of reporters and a lot of really popular and famous people with clout have tried to get that unsealed. But the state of Colorado, along with the families, both families, the Wattses and the Ruschecks, have decided they never want that information shared. And for anyone out there that ever says to you that there is an autopsy result or anything like that, is complete malarkey. Were there leaked photos? Yes. And the state of Colorado made that mistake. And this is what I think this is what their reference to was. There was a news or a statement that was released by the actual Wells County District Attorney's Office, and there was one word that was blue, and it had an underline. It was underlined. If you clicked on that line, now that link and all of that has since well been erased from the internet. But if you clicked on it, it brought up a PDF file that pertained to the actual Watts case itself. And yes, there were some photographs attached to it, not showing which child was which or the faces. It was bruising on the body of two of the girls or one of the girls. It was hard to say in particular, and it mainly showed like a little tape measure next to the bruise itself, documenting the size of the actual bruise itself. But all of that is gone. I've never had a link to the autopsy file. And even if I did, I would burn that up out of my memory, and I'd burn it out of my permanent, records and files that I have on the entire case. No one never ever needs to see that information. But thank you for the Dancing with Stars. Thank you for the question, though. Next one comes from Wyoming Line Dance 23. How do you find motions for cases that are still ongoing? I can never do it. Give you a simple answer to that. Go to the county where the case is active. Let's say it's Lori Vallow's case in Arizona, in Chandler, Arizona. Go to the county website. Everything that is filed at the county website, motion-wise, you can search and actually look for the name itself, or if you have the case number, you can search that case number, because every motion carries the name and the case number and the name of the defendant or the plaintiff in the case, in case you want to search that on that side of it. But that's how you do it. Can you actually read the motion? Not necessarily. It all depends upon the jurisdiction, if you're able to even read the motion or print them off. But if you have someone with the Associated Press and actual real life press credentials, I do. A lot of the people out there who are true crime reporters do not hold anything more than maybe a middle school degree or a high school diploma. Some of them may have some community college. I have an actual college degree in journalism. But hey, everyone is equal in this this world when it comes to the internet. We're all treated just as fairly, or are we? But thank you, Wyoming Line Dance number 23, for asking the question. Next one comes from Delight Me Some with 3 M's. What happened to all the fake textbooks that you had in the background? Maybe you should have read one or two. My question is, why do you always throw in references to psychology if you've never read one? Well, they're not fake textbooks. They're real, and they're over there on the table and on the shelf. And I mean, I don't understand what your issue is. My wife is working on her master's and eventually her doctorate degree in psychology. And those are her old textbooks, and as she uses them up after a semester, you can sell them back. You pay $300 for the book, and you can sell it back to them for $30. Woohoo! It's less than 6 months old, and now it lost $270 worth of value. No, it's easier to, and you can keep it as a reference manual. So someday, when she completes everything, I have to give the books back, and she can use them as a reference manual. Or if somebody else is coming along and they, for some reason, do decide to use that textbook again, I'll have it, and maybe I can loan it out to a family member, which I have done. Especially, not only in psychology, but in pathology, in that line of field. A lot of the pathology textbooks are gone. But again, they are that way on the table. And they're not fake. And I have read awful lot about the subject matters that are in there. But thank you for the critique and for the question. Alrighty, next one. It comes from Sammy Steele 8815. Your voice is perfect for radio. You should consider it. Question. Q, actually, in semicolon, and not anything else. But anything new about what's going on with Christopher Watts in prison? And keep up the great work. No, not much has come out about Christopher Watts. But then again, I don't exactly spend my time looking for news information out there. Apparently, he's getting along just like any other inmate. He's had some ups and he's had some downs. He's had people, try to extort him. He's had people steal his stuff. He's probably had to pay some kind of, protection over the time he's been there, because he's a weak, pathetic little man, And the only people in this world that he was ever going to harm were his own children and his defenseless wife, who was probably asleep after a long travel. And could not fight back because he pinned her down underneath the blankets, so she couldn't fight back. That's the only people he's ever going to hurt. You know, and that's the truth. Weak, pathetic little man. But thank you for the question, though. Next one comes to us from TSD96 Georgetown. I have a small channel and I'm just starting out. Would you do a collaboration with me if I was to make it worth your while? Maybe say like $20. I could definitely use the eyes on my content. Well, TSD96 Georgetown, no, you can't pay me to come, do a collaboration with you. If I'll go to your channel, and if this actually leads me to a channel, I will actually go to your channel. I will look it up. If I like the content, I'll reach out and contact you. I'm not going to do a collaboration with you if you're talking about, puppy dogs and kittens or clowns or, hot air balloons or knitting. I don't have any real interest in doing a collaboration on those. Maybe you're in the true crime community, and good luck. All the power to you. I wish you the best. But again, I will check out your content if I like it, and I'll subscribe, and I'll tell people about it. And if at some time, if I feel like there is room or a subject matter that we could do a collaboration on, I'll reach out to you. But no, you can't pay me to come watch your channel or do that. But maybe that was your point right there. Not really to pay for it, but just to get me to read off your name to send some traffic your way. If so, you were successful. All right, next one comes to us, but thank you for your question though. Next one comes to us from Marsha Tomlinson. Do you think serial killers could be found in small towns, in America, or just in major cities? They can be found everywhere. Serial killers have lived in small towns in Alaska and small villages. They've lived in small towns in the Midwest and traveled outside of their geographic location to kill. That a serial killer can be anywhere. They don't just have to be in large cities. Although I will tell you right now, it is a lot easier for them to blend into a large metropolis of a place like Seattle or Los Angeles or Houston, Texas, than it is for them to blend into a small town like Little Falls, Minnesota. It's a lot harder to blend in there than it is to blend into like the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. But thank you again for your question. Next one comes to us from Witness Lunter. I think that's out, Lunter. Next one, so serial killers are certainly scary. Which one scares you the most? I don't think that there has ever been one true serial killer that has scared me personally. There have been serial killers that have definitely fascinated me. There have been serial killers that I would be in fear of if they ever got close to me, or if I knew that they were in my area and committing the type of crimes that they have. I mean, but the spectrum runs from very interesting serial killers, not afraid of them at all, like the Ed Kempers, the gentle giant Ed Kemper. He has always fascinated me because of his intellect and his backstory, but he doesn't scare me. I don't find him a bit, I'm not a bit fearful of him. All the way to, on the other spectrum, the Gary Ridgways, or the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world. They're more towards the scary, but not, intellectually, interesting to me. So, and I'm constantly learning about new ones. So I have no idea where the next one's going to come from, or what their backstory is going to be. But thank you for the question, though. All right, next one comes to us from Ronnie James Holmes. I think it's Holmes. Boil it down. What made you get into this content on YouTube at your age? All right, in case you're new here and you haven't heard this before, I'll give you a quick little synopsis of how I got into the YouTube at all. I have a friend who was murdered. He was murdered in cold blood by another person who was kind of like, not a friend, but he was on the outside of our social circle. He murdered him. And he went to prison for his murder. I was there this is how closely I was connected to it. My friend lived about a block away. The murderer who killed my friend, lived not 2 houses away from me on the same side of the street. He came to my house and wanted to hide in my basement. I didn't know he murdered my friend. He just said the police were looking for him. And I'm like, no, dude, you're not coming to my house and hiding in the basement. I don't want anything to do with that. Get the fuck off my porch. Sorry for my language, but I did. So he went away. And then I see squad cars just flying around the corner, and I see him jumping fences and then jumping over another series of fences. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, if we find out he killed my friend. We were there from that moment on through the trial and everything else. And I wanted to make sure this SOB never got out of prison. And I went to court to make sure that he never got parole. Well, unfortunately, he got parole. But everywhere I looked online before we went to the parole hearing the first time and told him not to release him, I wanted to refresh my memory of the case. It had been quite a few years, that he'd been in prison at that point. And everywhere I could find online, YouTube videos or news media, there were nothing but lies about my friend. And that is the honest truth. Lies. People just they took a little kernel of truth and they stretched it out into, a live stream where they made a couple $100 off it, or they stretched it out into a series on lies about him and about the case and how the defendant got railroaded. And he admitted to the entire crime. It doesn't matter what his reasoning was and why he did it, but that's how I got into it. I made a video about my friend, telling about his life from his perspective, and from the perspective of my friend being murdered and all those people who got left behind. And no one watched it. No one. It was up for 6 months or so on this channel right here, For Woman Now. It was on this channel for about 6 months, and I think I had 3 views on it. While all the other people who were lying about my friend had hundreds and thousands of views, and some of them were just raking in the dough. Super chats on live streams talking about my friend. $100, $500, $50, $20, $10. I was just like, couldn't believe it. So I started this channel with one purpose: to make sure that people never forget the victims of the crimes. Don't put the perpetrators on a pedestal. Don't look at the Ted Bundys of the world and idolize them. Remember the victims. The victims, their families, their friends, the people who loved them. They didn't deserve to die. My friend didn't deserve to die. His life ended at the age of 21. For what? For absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter what he had. Taking his life mattered. And it matters today, all these years later, to me and everyone else. And it hurts us deeply that this SOB got out of jail. So, that's why I started this YouTube channel. Terrible at it on this side of the camera, but I'll be damned if I'm not a great reporter and researcher. But thank you for Ronnie James Holmes, or Homla, for the question. Next one comes to us from Carol's Clowns. My friend was killed by the Little Rock stabber in 2021. Thank you for respectfully covering the crimes. Will you please do a follow-up? Carol, thank you for the question, but yes, I'm working on the follow-up to that video right now as we speak. Today is July 12th. It should be out before the end of July. It's taking some time because I'm waiting to double-check references on a couple pieces for that story. But thank you, Carol's Clowns. Next one comes to us from Whitmer College, and I think this is actually a student ID number, so I'm not going to read off the series of numbers and everything else that comes after that. But we'll just call it Whitmer College. Even though I disagree with you a lot, I have to respect that you cover your butt with several layers of facts. I really would love to see you do another update on the Duggar family. Uh, I would, and I would certainly consider doing it again if I could actually find something that was worth talking about. Other than the fact that Duggar is not going to get out of prison, anytime early, and he has to do 100% of his actual sentence. So, if something interesting else comes up, I would most certainly do another Duggar family update. But thank you for whoever that was at Whitmere College who sent me that actual message, comment. David, this one comes from a friend of mine. So before I even tell you, and read it off, just let you know, I know who this is. Okay, first off, his name is David Allan Coe, as in the country western singer David Allan Coe. It's not David Allan Coe. Unfortunately, the country singer David Allan Coe has passed on. And every time he comments, he always starts off with lyrics to an actual song by David Allan Coe. You don't even have to call me darling. But that's always the first part of something he says. It's always some lyric from one of David Allan Coe's songs. But anyways, thank you for the great work, Will. Can you do an update on Lori Vallow or Chad Daybell and the food that they are eating in prison? Yes, I can actually work on that. And if you were in the Discord recently, you probably would have seen that. But I am definitely working on it. So just in case, I'm not saying, oh my God, you got to be in Discord to get this information. If you have been, it's posted there that I'm working on it. But thank you. Next one comes from Fred Luther 67. Whatever happened to the subscriber that killed her parents? Can you please do an update on her? Stephanie has been determined to be mentally ill, and the state determined that she is never going to be of her right mind to be able to aid in her defense. But in case she ever is, down the road, if she is able to be restored to mental capacity to aid in her own defense, she will go on trial for the murder of her mother and her father. In case you guys don't remember this, about 6 years ago, somewhere in there, I can't remember how long it's been now, I have a subscriber who used to comment in my live streams and be around pretty regularly. But she killed her mother in the kitchen area of the home, and then called her dad into the kitchen, and then stabbed him to death. And then she just calmly walked on past him, went and took a shower, sat down in the living room after getting dressed, and waited for the police to come to arrest her and take her away. She is completely out of her mind. No, a lot of people assumed that I'm a friend of hers. I kept in touch with her for a little bit until another friend of hers, who was kind of like acting as a go-between the two of us, got into some issues, and then family issues on top of that. And she just that person disappeared, and I just kind of lost track, of Stephanie being at the ward of the state at the state hospital. So, but that's as far as an update I can possibly do on Stephanie right now. All right, last one comes to us from Ida Hennel, number 2, and then the word 2. What is the first appeal Chad Daybell and his crack legal team will file? Most likely terms of the actual conviction itself, and or the sentence itself. If they have any motions there to file on, those are going to be the first ones. They're always 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there, and of the first motions always filed by anyone. More on if they got the death penalty, but Chad didn't. Chad got the death penalty, so it would be 1, 2, or 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 different motions they always bring up. Either an evidentiary motion that there was constitutional rights were violated, length of sentence, it was improperly totaled, or something else. It's always something along that line, 1, 2, or 3 in there. It's the first motions they always file. But thank you again, everybody who sent in questions. And for your, in case you're wondering, I asked and I waited a week for anyone to actually leave a comment, or a question on YouTube, and nobody did. All of these came from Facebook, Discord, Twitch, and messages, from Facebook, which is closing. If you're on Facebook, in the Facebook group, I'm closing it and opening a page, and you should have gotten a notification. It's right there on the page, right there and pinned at the top. So, all right. I will consider this done and over with, and I hope to see you all again in December, when I will probably do another one of these. If you have a question or a comment, bleep it down below underneath this video, and I'll try to answer it in the next one. In between now and then, you have a great day and stay safe out there.